Peoples, what is going on? I am Finesse, and we're back here in the garage because, like I said in my previous video, it is hot outside. All right, and since we're going to be riding in the heat during these hot summer months, I want to check and make sure that the bike is performing as it should. Now, of course, I've already gotten a oil change when it was due, but that was recently, right before we went to Colorado. So it's only been a couple of weeks since my oil change. So I know the oil is good. So one thing that I did not check was the antifreeze level. All right. And you're going to be able to check your antifreeze by taking off the left saddlebag, because the antifreeze reservoir is located right here in front of the rear wheel. All right. So in order to get the saddlebags off, we're going to need a hex key. So that's what I have here on the ratchet. And of course, when you take out the screw, I just like to put it in the saddlebag. And then those rubber grommets, I dropped those in there as well. All right. So I got the saddlebag off. And of course, it is super dirty back there. So we're going to clean this off, and then I'll bring you guys down a little bit closer so you can see the reservoir. I'm pretty sure I am low. So we're going to have to take a trip to India Motorcycle to grab some more. But I'm going to get this cleaned off and give you guys a look. All right, so looking behind the wheel, you can see the reservoir, and I've only got this little bit right here. So I'm not exactly sure how full this is supposed to be on the bottle, but I'm pretty positive it shouldn't be that low. All right, so the only thing left to do now is to head over to the dealership and get some more antifreeze. All right, man, look at this. 110 degrees, my goodness. So of course, making sure that your coolant levels are good on your India motorcycle is gonna be key during these temperatures. Now, granted, it's not actually 110. It's 110 in the vehicle, because it's sitting. But I think it's like 90. It's 90 something today. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But just because the car is sitting here, it's 110. So just imagine that you have your bike outside running, sitting at a stoplight or sitting in traffic. So, it's going to be one of those things, man. You got to check and make sure everything's good. All right, we have arrived at India Motorcycle. Let's go inside here and see what we got. How many quarts was it for the Challenger Pursuit? It was 2.5,
and then the Scout Bobber was 2.7.
Scout was 2.7. Okay. All right, nice. So I'm just going to get it 6 because, like I said, I forgot to check the fluid levels on the Scout before I left the house. All right, so I got my antifreeze, I got my coolant. We're going to head back to the garage and get this stuff taken care of. All right, we are back at the garage. I got my antifreeze right here. So now I'm gonna have to get the seat off because that's where you fill it at. I'm gonna have to get the seat off the bike. I'm gonna check where the level goes on the reservoir tank. And I gotta figure out where the tank is for this. I'm assuming it's gonna be back here somewhere. So conveniently, the bolts that hold on the saddlebags are the same bolts that hold on the seat. I'm running out of room in the garage. Yeah, so right here is the backrest mount. This super dirty thing right here. And then right here is the fill for the antifreeze. So like I said, I think I got enough room to pull that out and take that out, and then that way I can fill it up. But first, before I do that, I need to know how much I need in there. So we're gonna take a peek at the old manual and see what it says. So I got my owner's manual right here. We are going to look for coolant level inspection, page 114. All right, here we go. Cooling system, coolant level inspection. All right, so it gives you a little diagram here. It says it has to be above the minimum line, which is this line right here. and below the frame strut, which is going to be this other line up here. So you're going to want to be somewhere in between there. I know I am not there. So the bike does need to be standing up straight for this, and I am by myself, but that doesn't mean that I can't do it, because right over here on the Chief, you can see I've got a Condor chalk right there. So we're going to take that chalk off of there and put it over here. All right, so if you are looking at the level where it is here, right? That is low. It is supposed to be up to here where the top of the flashlight is. It's down here. It's supposed to be up here. So it's supposed to be in between here and this frame strut. So the line is there, and this is the frame strut that they're talking about. So it should be midway between there, or somewhere in between there. If it's not somewhere in between there, then it is low, and I am low. So we are definitely going to take care of that today. And we are going to see if I can get this out. I didn't want to do it, but I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to remove this bracket for the seat. Take the funnel, we'll pop the funnel on there, and then I've got the coolant, the 50/50 coolant from Indian Motorcycle. It's 1 quart. I think 1 quart was like $9 and something. And then we'll get to pouring it in. So we'll just do a little bit. So now we are in spec where it's supposed to be. As you can see there, there's the line, there's that body frame, so we're in between those two. So we are good. And even though it looked really low, at least it did to me, it wasn't that low. So it was about 15 ounces low. That's what we put in there. So I'm gonna get this one buttoned up. I'm gonna check Mrs. Finesse's bike, and then we're also going to check the Scout. right, so now it is time to check the coolant level on the Scout. Good news, there is a sight gauge. I guess bad news, I gotta pull the seat off in order to fill it if it needs to be filled. And we have the 1920 Solo seat. So it's not like the old seat where you can just pop it off. There's gonna be some maintenance required to get this seat off. But anyway, we're gonna get it off and see where this fill is. But I'll show you guys where the sight gauge is. So here on the left side of the bike, or the clutch side of the bike, there is a sight gauge right there, and it even has a cold full level. And I can't see too much of what's in there. And the bike is leaned over, but even still, I still can't see anything. So we're gonna have to put some more in there. So let's get this seat off. And because we have the 1920 seat, we have to take these two bolts out that are back here, but you can't access those unless you move this out of the way. So here we go. Now that we've got all that disassembled, right here is your coolant bottle fluid fill. So I'm gonna get the bike onto the chalk and then get some fluid in the tank. All right, so when you get the cap off, it's literally just like a regular cap, and then there's a piece on the top of it. It's kind of like a little rubber diaphragm that's in there as well. So you got to get both of those out. Also, if you look down in here, right, this is with the cap open, there's like a itty bitty little opening that the fluid is going to have to filter through, or well, go down through. So we're definitely going to have to pour this slowly. Definitely going to have to be a slow pour. All right. So when we ordered the seat came with this battery cover, I guess you want to call it. And that's why I had to take the rear fender off, because these bolts are so far back into where the fender is. But on this one, they're forward a little bit. So if you look at them, side by side, you can see the one with the Indian Motorcycle logo. The bolts are pushed farther forward so that you won't have to take off this rear seat. And it also came with a bracket. So I'm going to be taking this bracket off, putting this bracket on, and then putting this cover on so that I don't have to take this rear fender off anymore. All right, so that is going to be it for today's video. It started out with just checking the fluid level or the coolant level on my Pursuit, checking Mrs. Finesse's Challenger, and then going into checking the Scout. And out of all three bikes, my Pursuit needed the most. Well, I don't know. I think the Scout needed quite a bit too. But outside of that, as long as you don't have to check 3 or 4 bikes, it should be pretty easy for you here to check your coolant levels. But again, when riding in this hot weather, you want to make sure that your bike's fluid levels are maintained where they're supposed to be, in addition to your tire pressures and everything else that goes along with safe operations for your motorcycle. All right, so just as a side note, I was asked a question as far as the lights and how sometimes you see them like strobing or whatever in the videos. But the lights themselves are solid. I just think the refresh rate that I had, whether it was 24 frames, 30 frames, 60 frames, that's going to make the lights look a little bit different. All right, that's going to do it for today. Ride every day, and most importantly, make sure you're enjoying it. Peace.